Hello YouTube, Tim here, and I'm not going to do a build along of this, but I want to do a sort of blow by blow, bring you up to date as I make changes and as I make progress. This is a longer term project that I've been working on. This will be the bow of Lorien, the Lothlorien bow given to Legolas by the Lady Galadriel. In this case, it's approximately 60 inches long starting length. Let's make sure if that's even remotely correct. Yeah, very close. Okay, so it might have been as long as 62, because with the bends it's about 59. So there you go. What I did was I took the terminal 8 and 9 inches and starting there, started to puff, and then really about 6 inches in is where I started to flatten it. So I did the flattening first, then I went and heated and eased the transition to the Sias. I'm going to be cutting them, and I shaped the handle, flattening it just slightly and deflexing it. My next steps, I'm going to be cutting nocks and giving it a little test just to see what its draw weight is. The requirement was for quite a high draw weight. I'm not sure if I'll be able to achieve quite that high a draw weight without making some modifications, but I'm going to give it my, my best effort. This bow will ultimately be decorated very, very intensely, and I hope beautifully. So check in again and we'll give you project updates, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Hello YouTube, Tim here, and this is a progress report, an update if you will, on the Lorien bow. For starters, I've eased the transition to the outer limb, the Sia here, made it a little bit more graceful and continuous. I also shaped the outer, the Sia. I haven't yet sealed it. I'm not sure if I'm going to round it. Probably I'll do a little bit of rounding and then a little bit of filling with other materials. I'm thinking InstaMorph and maybe hot glue for some of the smaller sections. We'll see. I haven't decided how I'm going to do that completely yet. I also increased the deflex here at the handle, applied a nice sanded wood finish, very, very light. Since the bow is very light brown, almost beigey, I may go and I may spray it a little with beige paint just to enhance that effect, but we'll see. For starters, I went ahead and did the shaping like I discussed. I just got back inside after putting on a nice coat of clear coat just to protect the finish from any playing around in decoration. I made a string now. It's the standard string that I used for my 48-inch long U3 curves with 2 tied-on knots. Each of those knots is, let's see, the loops, let's call it 5 inches, 4.5, 5 inches. So let's string her up and I can show you what it looks like. Go, looks good there, looks good there. The knocks appear solid. Alright, very good. There it is. It has that nice angular look. Eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some other material and I'm going to sculpt out leaves to wrap around the bow in the same manner that the bow should be decorated. Yeah, this is looking very good. The project is coming along very nicely, and I'm very pleased to be able to show this to you guys. So in another update, just a really quick short thing. Here's the center, the true geometric center of the string. Instead of doing the normal 2 inches below, I only did 1.5 inches below, and next time I might even do 1 inch below. And then I did my normal 4 inches above true center, and that appears to be very adequate. So there it is. Progress on the Lorien bow. Check back in for more. Hello YouTube, I've got the the Lorien bow up here in my tailoring tree, and I'd like to see what it draws at 28 inches. The whole issue was the stated goal weight was approximately 60 pounds. I don't think it's going to draw that just because of the heavy deflexing. getting the shape right at the same time as the draw weight that heavy is going to be a challenge. And if I want to do that, I might need to modify the bow in other ways. I'll have to contact the customer and see if that's what they're interested in. But let's just test it and see where we're at. Well, at 20 inches, it's 25.65 pounds. Let's do the 24. 31 pounds. My guess is it's going to be about 35 pounds. Nope, I'm wrong. It's 39 pounds. So, there you go. Could we do better? Could we make it heavier? Absolutely. I could reduce the deflex. I could slightly recurve everything. However, getting the shape of it to be just so is really, that's hard. And the customer said what they really want is a bow that looks similar to an elven bow, like that given to, in the works of Tolkien, Legolas by the Lady Galadriel. So that's what we're working off of. And, pardon me, well, the work even in the shaping of the bow isn't done, the decoration of the bow. Just seeing where we are for a baseline weight is important so I can communicate this. Anyway, I hope this is interesting. The shape is fairly good, fairly authentic. I really like it. I hope you do too. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Hello YouTube and good morning. Today I have the Lothlorien bow with some of the latest changes that I've made. While it may looked like a line of somewhat constipated pigeons did their business on the back of my bow, this is in fact polycaprolactone, InstaMorph. I wanted to go ahead and heat that up. It becomes nice and moldable. Stick it on in lumps and shape it roughly into the shapes and size of the bumps that you see on the back of the Lothlorien bow. In this case, one on either side of the handle and then approximately equidistant from the first bump to the base of the Sia. It's really all there was to it, except I also wanted to go and plug up the groove that I cut. Since I cut from the knock backwards to the tip of the Sia, I wanted to fill that up and make it a tiny bit sharper. This is a great material because you can do stuff like that. Normally you can't add back to the PVC, but this gives you a little bit of leeway with that. So when it's hot, it sticks to a lot of things, including wood and PVC. So I'm hoping there's going to be good adhesion. That remains to be seen, and that's really what this test is all about. So I'm going to first sand all of this down so that it looks just how I want it to look. Then I'm going to sand it just for grooving, spray paint the entire thing lightly, probably with a beige coat, and then go over it again as necessary with the brown shoe polish to bring out a wood grain finish. And hopefully then it'll look nice and homogeneous and not like it has on the back. So anyway, that's what it is. Now I need to go outside, string the bow, and actually test shoot it to see if these things are going to remain on the bow and not just pop and fall right off. Unfortunately, since I haven't tested it yet, I don't know. This is going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to it because my plan was to use InstaMorph rather than Apoxie Sculpt to make the designs. If this fails, I might have to go ahead and use the Apoxie. But, and I think that's a brand name, right? Apoxie rather than epoxy. In either case, it may be a problem merely due to the fact that PVC is impervious. It doesn't allow a lot of materials to get inside of it. It's pretty hard to stick stuff to. That's part of the problem. So we're going to have to see if this works. If it does, great. Then I'm going to keep on doing the sculpting, which I'll then paint white on top of everything. And just one more step towards completion of the bow. Thanks for watching. Hello YouTube, Tim here. Let me zoom in. I went ahead and reinforced the bumps on the back. Well, here. This is the Lothlorien bow. I went ahead and reinforced the little bumps since one of them, not all of them, but one of them wanted to keep popping off. So rather than glue it on in a different way, I just built up the plastic all around the limb. That should do the trick. Provides a lot more surface area. Now the trouble is blending it so that it doesn't look like this. I'm not happy with that. For me, that's unacceptable. So I've got to find a way to blend it, make it look better, and well, that's where I am right now. On the whole, it looks pretty darn decent, and I think once it's finished and decorated, this will look great, but I must get this transition smooth somehow. Whether that be just by heating it and pinching it out, because this stuff is pretty soft. So, I'm going to experiment, I'll play around, I will let you guys see what I find out. But, I used the same material to basically plug up the entire holes on the end, and again I'll have to sand that down. That's a little easier to sand. So, another update. I hope you like it. See you guys later. Hello YouTube. Okay, so with some problems that we've been having with this bow, sometimes, like after falling, like this thing slipped off here and just dropped on the floor. Not a big problem really, except one of these inner bumps just plopped right off. That can't happen, so I went ahead and I wrapped each one with just a band of InstaMorph. Now that looks pretty crappy. It looked not too spectacular to begin with, just with the inside like that, but in general I just don't think that blends well. And I tried sanding it, it's really pretty hard. So what I had done is, I heated this. I heated the edges, and then I used my finger to roll off like so, again and again and again until I could get it as smooth as I like. So now, here's where it was before and after. That's still not perfect, but given a little bit of paint, sanding, faux finishing, I think that's going to fade right away and look totally natural. I'm pretty happy with this now. The bottom line is we finally have something that I can see turning into a bow. By the way, one other thing that I had done at this point was, after I had put all this stuff on, I had tried touching them up with some shoe polish to see how the color would match, and it was pretty good. Then I put some white paint over all of it. So some of the white paint's gonna come off as I do this. I'm gonna just apply, reapply finishes until I'm happy. But the first things first, heating, and then smoothing it away. If you want to see, I can show you. Let's see, I'll do it over here. Set it way down, almost as low as it'll go. InstaMorph melts at about 140 degrees. And it doesn't become fluid, it just becomes malleable and soft. So there's no sense in going all the way. You can crank the heat, but you're more likely to burn the PVC. The InstaMorph will get soft, but you could also damage that. It's just better to take it slow, take it carefully. There's no reason to rush. As the InstaMorph starts to heat, you'll see it also start to become a little bit more transparent. With the paint on top, it's harder to tell. That's my fault, but the proof is really just touching it. Go ahead and you'll see, and it'll be a little bit softer. Okay, so my guess is we've at least partially softened it. So now just, yep, see, look at that. I can already start to push it out. First I'll use my thumb or a finger, or you could use an implement, a rolling implement, whatever, to sort of smooth it out a little and get it a little bit thinner towards the ends. It's not going to be perfect, but just give it a push, give it a push, give it a push. And then, once it is really nice and flat and even, and there's not a big transition, then roll, and you get it even lighter, even thinner. it'll look great when this is all done. So I'm going to do that same sort of thing that I did over here to all of them. It's going to take a little bit of time, but once it's done, it'll look really nice. And I have decided I'm going to try using the Apoxie Sculpt material to actually do the decorations themselves. This is going to be a challenging product from one end to the other. And I really... the InstaMorph is good. I don't know if it's the right material to do the decorations out of. It's going to be a little bit hard to shape once it's on there. So I think the Apoxie Sculpt will be a little bit easier. Thanks for watching. Hello YouTube, Tim here. I've gone ahead and smoothed down all the transitions, attempted to match them as closely as I could. They're still somewhat visible. They still are. I'm going to go back and try and smooth them out a little bit more and ease the transitions a little bit more. But for the most part, that's good, especially once decorations are on top of them. I think it's going to be very hard to see, and it looks very nice overall. Basically what I did was I put a base coat of light brown on it. Then I sprayed a little bit of white spray paint on top of all of that, and that just helps to blend it all together. I thought the effect was pretty darn good. You probably noticed here at the ends, I started applying some Apoxie Sculpt, the Apoxie brand sculpting material. Let me go grab the two containers here. So here you go. Part A, Part B, modeling compound. I'm using somebody's suggestion for this very application of adding approximately 4 parts of the white mixture to, or no, I'm sorry, 3 parts of the white mixture to 4 parts of the green. Very little goes a long way. I just made 2 balls, squished them together, then rolled them out several times into long snakes, and then rolled them into a ball, squished them back out, and blended them that way. Worked very well. It seems to be a nice, safe, easy to use material, and it does seem to adhere pretty well. I'm really looking forward to giving this a try and finishing up the decoration. I've only done half here. You can see the other side still basically naked, but eventually we're going to have all the important parts of this covered with the right kind of designs, and this is going to look really, really awesome, I think. My one thought is that maybe what I'll do when I'm done with it all is I will go and I'll manually paint these areas white, because they were supposed to be white, not just supposed to be whitish or beige or off-white. They're supposed to be white. So I'm going to go and try that. Other than that, the bow's looking great. I think it's going to be fantastic. Really looking forward to showing you guys the finished bow. Hello YouTube, Tim here, and let me show you what I've done. Flip this around. This is the handle section of the Lothlorien bow. I think it's pretty nice looking, it looks pretty good. And it's not complete. And it's only half done since the other side is completely unfinished. So I need to replicate what I've done over here on this side. And then, excuse me, I need to extend the design a little bit down, at least up until this point, till the second bum. But this gives me a good thing to work off of, and I'll show you how I did that. First of all, let's flip it around, set it down. We've got this, the Apoxie Sculpt parts A and B. A is the, I believe, the white stuff, and B is the green stuff. So I have those two here, and approximately a 4 parts green to 3 parts white. Show you, I mix them like so. Squish them flat, and then roll them up. Roll it out, and roll it up. Roll it out. Do that a few times. And you see, look how nice and streaky it's getting. Another time or two, and that should be completely homogeneous, which is what you're looking for. If the 2 parts don't mix, it's not going to set. So far, so good. Okay, so you can also just smush it and smear it and, do that. that works too. I just happen to like that method. Once you don't see streaks anymore and it's all homogeneous, just set it aside. You're done, more or less, at least with the mixing part. Now, pinch off a small portion, say that much, just a fingertip's worth. If you wanted to roll it into a ball to get an idea of the size and shape of it, there it is. It's the size of a pea. Roughly the size of a pea. And even that might be too large. I think that's going to be too large. Yeah, we'll see. What I want to do now is I'm going to make these 2 inner leaves. Then I'll make the 2 outer leaves here. Okay, so to make a leaf shape, I roll it to a slightly conical shape. I'm going to be thinner at one side than at the other. Let's see, is that about the right size? That's about the right size. Okay. Let's put that right about there. Look good? I'll flip it over because I am trying to match it somewhat. The exact shape of this doesn't matter because you're going to be modifying it a lot. Okay, if it sticks too much to your fingers, just go ahead and dip them in the water. Oh, I should have mentioned I have a bowl of water here. But then rub the water around. You don't want a pool of it because it will come right off your hands and just soak the whole surface. You'd be surprised. Okay, so then I flatten it like this. Now, the interesting part, I take a razor blade, like so. Let me try and get a different angle, get around the tripod here. And since I want a leaf shape, start at a point, cut round, and again to a point. Then just stick the blade under the edge and scrape away what you've cut off. Collect all of that when you're done. Just put it next to the ball and you'll roll it back up and use it again. It's perfectly fine. You can keep on reusing it until it's all gone. That's why this process really only used about, oh, I don't know, not much more paste than I would have put on a toothbrush if it were toothpaste. And the same thing on the other side. Start with a point, no, a little round, just cut into the edge, and back to a point. Pull that off. And there we go. Okay, now, you can leave it like this. I like to start off, again, wet the fingers. Wrong hand, I guess I should use this one. The Band-Aid kind of gets in the way. Okay, don't want it too wet. Just want it wet enough. And then just smooth it. And if you have any imperfections that you want to get rid of, like say right there, just smooth them away with something sharper and then rub. There you go. Pretty good. It's actually a little bit too large, just if I'm comparing the two sides, so I'm going to amputate it. I'm going to go like so. There. Close enough. Looks good. Let me just repeat that smoothing with the water. And then, normally I would wait to do this until later when it's more set, but just to give you an idea of what I do for the actual veining of the leaf, I have just a 5/16 inch dowel. This is one of the ones that I was making prop arrows with, and I accidentally broke a prop arrow. So, use the back end. Pushing very, very gently down the center. I roll it like so till you get the level of definition you're looking for. Can you see that? There you go. Then, keeping it angled away from the base of the leaf, I do the same thing every millimeter or so up the side of the leaf. Call it 1/8 of an inch if you prefer. Another reason to postpone this process is because you're very likely to touch this design later when you're applying other pieces, and it would be best to not have to redo this part. It'll look rougher if you do. So just go over the entire leaf like that. You said gently roll, gently roll, gently roll. There you are. Once it's a part of a design like that, it'll look like that. Pretty slick. So I hope that's helpful. It gives you the basic idea. And I hope this has been an interesting tutorial. Applying the designs on top. See, I already blended. I smoothed out these. Goodness knees. And of course, if I say it, it's going to go away. So I've already blended away the plastic, and I painted on top of it to blend them more. Now with these bits of epoxy on it, it hides it even more. I'm going to do everything I can to make it look as organic and natural as possible. But it's a very, very nice looking bow, and it's only getting better. Thanks for watching. I hope this tutorial was useful. See you later. And if you like it, subscribe. Hello YouTube, Tim here with the essentially completed Lothlorien bow. I think I'm going to go back and just touch it up with a little bit of white paint to make it stand out a little bit more, but it's already very light colored and looks really, really good. Take a closer look. Some of the designs, I especially like this style of leaf. Some of it looks pretty good. I'm fairly happy with it. And I think as I was going along, I was learning some new techniques and getting some practice with it, so again, I'm fairly satisfied with it. This is really the moment of truth, when I'm going to actually attempt to string it and hope that all of it doesn't just come shattering off. I have a sneaking suspicion that it will stay, but, well, proof's in the pudding. So, here we go. Some of that cracking, by the way, is probably more likely the InstaMorph, which I expect more problems from, but we'll see. Okay. Actually, let me try this in a different way. I slip it on both nocks, and then I can simply bring it up rather than down. This means you don't have to pull it farther than it has to be pulled to knock it. Conventionally, you would have to pull it quite a lot farther. So, okay, here we go. There's the knock, and now I just slide it up the limb as I brace it. This is a touch nerve-wracking for me. I'm also trying to give you a good view, which is hard, because there's no real good way to show you everything that's happening. And I can't slide my hand easily up all this decoration. Okay, well, whew. Okay, that's step one. Nothing went shattering, flying, exploding, and it's braced and looks pretty darn good. That's where there will be, not necessarily problems, but it's catching just a tiny bit on some of these. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of sandpaper and just sand them down smooth before I gloss them up with some clear coat. And then over top of all of it, including the gloss, I'm going to apply a nice matte clear coat finish to make it look more natural. Probably on top of that, we'll go with the white paint. But here we go. That's the finished bow. That's it. It looks lovely, and moment of truth style. Yeah, aside from what I was talking about, the string somewhat catching on the decorations here, and not in a bad, horrible way, but just you can hear it and feel it. So I'm going to go ahead and smooth those down, and I think we'll have a fine bow. Kick butt. Thanks for watching, YouTube. I hope you like it. And I hope you like the bow, because I know the bow likes you. If you like the bow too, go ahead and subscribe. I'd appreciate it, and I love showing you guys new things. It's always a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. Hello YouTube. I've gone ahead and, yeah, odd combination, shorts and sweater, right? Well, anyway, I went ahead and I finished decorating this bow. I went over each and every single piece of epoxy and I painted it white. I then added in a few leaves here and there where I thought it would be appropriate, look nice, help fill in the pattern, or just enhance the overall appearance of it. And I think I've done that. I think the bow is even more beautiful than it was before. And I think this is going to be very pleasing. Now the only thing I need to do remaining is I'm going to get some clear coat, two kinds, spray it with many layers of plain old glossy clear coat. Then I'm going to put on a few layers of the matte clear coat to make it look a little bit more natural. Hopefully the gloss clear coat will help to retain some of these, because I have this sneaking suspicion that it's going to have a little bit of trouble staying on there under repeated firings. It's a real beautiful bow, but I just don't trust the PVC. I don't trust the PVC and adhesion to it. It's a spotty thing at best, and I think everything that I can do to minimize the chances of something going wrong, something falling off, would be advantageous. That's it. That's the last you'll see of this bow. Maybe I will probably shoot it for you on camera, but that'll be a while. So, thank you. Hello YouTube, Tim here. This is, as you should well know by now, I hope, the Lothlorien bow. Decorated with epoxy, sculpted epoxy, that is brand name Apoxie Sculpt, very nice. Painted white on top, additional flourishes. The raised portions of the bow are made with polycaprolactone, brand name InstaMorph. Both of those products have been very useful. I then coated all of this, once it was painted, multiple layers of first gloss clear coat, then matte clear coat. Ultimately, this is what I'm left with. It looks about as close as I can possibly get to the Peter Jackson movie version of the bow, and I'm very satisfied with it. I know if I shoot right off of the decorations, I'm going to damage them. So I have a bit of towel here that I'm going to wrap the handle with, and that will help to protect it, just enough. And if anybody's shooting bows like this, I would recommend you do the same. There's no harm in it. Just go and wrap it, and if you use a cloth towel, that would probably be best. This is a paper towel. It's only going to have to survive a few shots, so I thought that would be adequate. Here's the bow. I'm only shooting a few feet away. I would love to go and shoot at a distance, but unfortunately the weather it's like 2 degrees, feels like 15 below, and snow is, since it's been blowing and drifting, it's about a foot thick right outside my garage, the backyard. Yeah, it's just not going to happen today. So let's take it for what it is, and let's give it a shot, shall we? I feel awkward. I'm sort of squatting here so I can try and be in a better position to give you a good view of what I'm doing. And I'm only shooting really 1 arrow length beyond the bow. Well, here it is, the Lothlorien bow. I hope you enjoy it. This bow has been a lot of work. It's been very satisfying to me to make personally, and I really hope it is for its owner. It's a beautiful, beautiful bow. I've never made one quite like this, and I may never make one like this again, but we'll have to see on that. Thanks very much for watching as I've produced it. I hope the videos showing you how I sculpted the leaves and did some of that were helpful, and I hope it was fun just to see it take shape. Probably just as a side, I'll post this, and I'll also collect all those videos and put them in one long run. So it'll be a 30-minute long video just on each stage of the bow as I was making it. Again, thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked it, because I certainly do. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Thanks very much, YouTube.